So hi and welcome to the Data Explorers Market Update with me, Will Duff Gordon. So I've got to talk again about smartphones. I apologise, but it's not every day that the number one players in two different markets come together only for the stock market to react by marking down the share prices of one of these players by 15%. That is what happened when Steve Ballmer of Microsoft shook hands with Nokia's chief exec to announce that Nokia smartphones would be using the Microsoft operating system. Now, why is this interesting? Well, because a big liquid company like Nokia to fall 15% in a day, that's a big move that somebody who's a proud short seller will be looking to harness and have predicted. So we've done a little look at this sector, and what we found is actually rather interestingly, it is the only people that really did well out of this were the American investors in Nokia who were trading their ADRs, their American depository receipts, because the ordinary shares short interest is pretty low, and institutional investors weren't necessarily selling either. Whereas the ADR short interest had actually increased quite a lot to 2% of all shares, which is 40% of supply ahead of this results. Okay, there's a little bit of short covering, but not much. And also the investors who own Nokia ADRs were also selling, had reduced their shareholdings in Nokia ADRs by nearly 20% in recent months. So, again, people who are sort of far removed from the country where tongue twister, people who are far removed from the country where the company in question is trading seem to have had the most objective view on it and have been quite sceptical as to how Nokia is going to do in its fight against Apple. What's happening in Apple? Boring as usual. Institutional investors love Apple. Short selling is non-existent, so I'm afraid we have no angle on Apple as the share price continues to do well. Ericsson, they are a slightly different company these days. I think they've turned themselves around and they're less exposed to selling smartphones or even mobile handsets. Anyway, institutional investors have been buying Ericsson recently and short selling is pretty low. Finally, HTC, who are potentially one of the most serious contenders to Apple because their smartphones are kind of gaining in popularity. They're certainly spending a lot of money on advertising in the UK at present. There was a bit of short selling in HTC, the Taiwan company, but it's actually coming down now. So maybe people think actually HTC have got their act together and are credible. Lots of stuff being discussed in Barcelona at the big mobile conference right now. And no doubt we'll have more news on this week. But that is what we sort of have to say on what the investors are doing. If you'd like to read the report, it is at dataexplorers.com/news.